Oh, I can hear myself.
Oh
All
god.
right, can you hear on my stream? Oh, I see me on your screen. How fun. I can wave at myself.
As long as it doesn't buffer, yeah.
No said. It's some
Oh
Mad
god, now
Mittens
it's an infinite
Inception.
wave.
Oh. All right.
I've gotten
Here
all
we
that out of the
go.
way. Yes. Oh god.
I was definitely muted on my stream.
Good job! Gosh, Walter. You Mick fucked up!
Oh yeah.
Home Alone. The Reckoning.
Yes, copyright strict.
But it's a cover.
Yeah,
So it's good.
is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 200%. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Turning people up. We doing this.
Oh.
To start, who's seen the film here? How recent? Mads, you said you've seen it before as a child?
I've seen it. I've seen it.
This year, last year?
Last year, I definitely watched it at least twice.
I think I probably watched it at least once last year.
I don't remember, so this is gonna be great.
You get the gist of it. It's a kid home alone, attacked by criminals. The criminals got their comeuppance.
Mm-hmm.
But this fanfic supposes, what else? What did this experience do?
Imagine, if you will, a world in which the villain is someone else.
Indeed. So I think we're ready to hop into it, yeah?
All right.
I'll be doing the narration. Aaron Marley, our protagonist, FBI special agent, voiced by Mad Mittens here. And we'll open with her speaking to her boss, Jack Douglas, voiced by Noble. And we'll have tasers come in part 2, and we'll go from there.
Okay,
And
let's go.
Part 1, less incompetence. She hugged her coat tighter around her, quickened her pace as the wind began to swirl leaves and snow and locks of red hair onto her face, obscuring her vision. It had been a long day already, and she was on her way home when she got the call. This wasn't the usual homicide, the crimes of passion she was used to. This was something big, a completely calculated act that had taken meticulous preparation on many levels, to the point Aaron assumed the fact that they even discovered the grisly scene was part of the plan. She ducked under the tape and walked up to the 3rd floor. She immediately caught a whiff of the most foul thing she ever smelled. She pushed her way through the various uniformed bodies swarming around the scene, into a bedroom where acrid fumes were coming from.
Marley, good you're here.
The head of the behavioral science unit, Jack Douglas, her boss, made his way to her across the room.
Jesus, what happened here, sir?
The scene in front of her was straight out of a horror movie. A thin, malnourished man, strapped completely naked to a large mattress, various belts and ties. The mattress was so soggy and stale with urine that a moat had formed around it and was slowly expanding on all sides, leaking through the floorboards to the apartment below. IV hangers stood like metallic skeletons, praying over the body on either side of the bed, with bags like diseased lungs filled with a dark fluid, the long plastic tendrils with needles like claws running straight into the veins of the man's bruised, cut-up arms.
The victim was strapped down for days and administered pure Pepsi Cola through the IV drip. The carbonation bubbles in the Pepsi caused a vascular embolism and, undoubtedly, an immense amount of pain before his heart failed. If it wasn't that, it would have been the type 2 diabetes. His name was Fuller McAllister, 26 years old, unmarried, no children. Worked at a convenience store downtown. We found a note on the nightstand. We'll put it in evidence, but it seems more of an insult than any kind of clue.
He handed her the note written in red ink on a torn, greasy sheet of notebook paper. Go easy on the fluids, pal. The rubber sheets are packed. Aaron Marley.
Are there any... Yeah, well, my mic was muted. Off to a great start. Are there any primary suspects? Who would want to do this to someone?
Douglas opened the courier bag at his side and pulled out a plain manila file, which he handed to Aaron.
We had an idea, but now it's almost certain.
As she flipped open the file to examine the various photos and documents, Douglas recited the contents from memory.
About a year ago, a man named Jeffrey McAllister, cousin of Fuller here, went missing. About 6 days later, he was found in front of a hospital emergency room, hemorrhaging blood from every orifice. Hospital staff tried to save him, but he was already too far gone. And to make it worse, immediate blood tests showed that the hemorrhaging was caused by the Ebola virus. 4 hospital members were infected in quarantine, but only 2 of them made it. During the autopsy, the coroner noted a handwritten tattoo across Jeff's chest that says, "You are such a disease."
Aaron examined the photos of the red-haired man with blood flowing out of his eyes like tears.
How did he get infected with the Ebola virus when it wasn't even native to this area? And how did nobody else other than the other 4 hospital staff get infected?
We don't know. It's likely that whoever infected him got it with a sample somehow. Maybe from a lab or something, but it seemed just like a freak accident. That is, until we found the second body.
As Aaron shuffled photos of another grisly murder scene, Jack continued.
Her name was Lynette McAllister, one of Jeff's sisters, and this time it was worse.
Photos depicted a woman strapped to a chair with the top of her head from the brow up completely missing, her brain removed. Large, crude letters were smeared across the wall above her in blood, spelling out the French words, les incompetents.
As you can see, his methods are becoming more sophisticated and gruesome.
So someone is systematically killing anyone named McAllister? Who's holding the grudge?
We believe it's the youngest McAllister sibling, Kevin. He spent the most of his teen years in and out of juvenile detention for various violent crimes committed with elaborate traps. There was a series of incidents in his childhood where his entire immediate extended family abandoned him around the holidays, and we now believe that it is all a manifestation of his desire to regain control.
If he kills them, they no longer have the power to abandon him.
Precisely.
So who's left? Any more siblings? What about the parents?
The parents were killed in a plane crash on their way to Costa Rica around Christmas in '98. That's when things took a turn for the worse. He disappeared shortly after that, after severely beating his sister Megan with a snow shovel. She needed a complete facial reconstruction surgery. She suffered from extreme depression afterwards until committing suicide at the age of 22.
At the mention of a snow shovel, Erin felt her blood run cold, and the earth seemed to drop out from under her. All of a sudden, she remembered something.
Jesus Christ, my grandfather lived next door to the McAllisters when I was growing up.
I know. That's why I called you in here. I thought you were close with your grandfather, and I thought you might have some insight into all this.
I don't know. This is too much to process right now. I'll have to think about it.
She closed the file and handed it back to Douglas. The smell was beginning to get to her. She had to get away from all these people in order to properly think about everything. She turned to leave. Douglas called after her.
Will do. Will do. And hurry. We're pressed for time on this one.
She stopped and turned back to him.
What?
A few days ago, we got a report that Kevin's oldest brother, Buzz, and his uncle Frank Fuller, Fuller's father, went missing after leaving a local strip club early Sunday morning. We believe he's abducted them, and he's holding them somewhere. If discussions with the other family members are any indication, Buzz and Frank are Kevin's most hated enemies. There's really no telling what kind of horrible things he'll do to him. He needs to be caught as soon as possible.
I'll try, sir, but quite frankly, I don't know where to start.
Well, you can start. Well, maybe you can start here.
Douglas reached into his bag again, pulled out another file, and handed it to her.
These two men are Kevin's only known surviving victims. They were somehow subjected to his torture devices twice and miraculously survived both times. They've been in a state pen for a good part of the last 20 years, but they may be able to provide some answers. Good luck, Marley, and be careful.
Erin walked out of the house, into the icy wind, and got back into her car. There was something she couldn't shake from her mind as she drove home. The connection between her own grandfather, the sweetest man she'd ever known, and this innocent child she lived door to him, who had in the intervening years become a psychotic killer. She quietly let herself into her house so as not to wake her roommate. She made her way to her kitchen. She began to brew a pot of coffee. It was going to be a long night. She sat down at the dining table, opened the file Jack had given her. For the next few hours, learned about the two men she'd never seen before or heard of her in her life. Harry Lime and Marv Merchants, the Wet Bandits. Part 2. Think positive. Buzz McAllister's eyes flashed in and out of focus as they tried to adjust to the harsh wavelength of fluorescent light that burned his retinas somewhere above. His head was swimming and his body had the sensation of a million little needles all over it. In the distance he could hear a voice calling his name, hushed only enough to be heard, but to not be heard by the invisible observer beyond the walls surrounding him.
Buzz, wake up!
He mustered all of his strength and tried to sit up, but the combination of the sedative flowing through his bloodstream and his massive belly forced him to try multiple times before succeeding.
Buzz, it's me. It's Frank.
As the fog cleared from his vision, Buzz looked around himself. He was sitting on a dirty tile floor in what looked like a large bathroom. There wasn't a single toilet in one corner and a bathtub in the other. Aside from a single window near the top of one wall, all other fixtures had been removed. The voice sounded closer now, just a few feet away.
Jesus Christ, you're okay. We gotta get out of here, Buzz.
His eyes made their way to the other side of the room where he saw his Uncle Frank on his hands and knees. One end of a thick chain was secured around Frank's left ankle. The other was attached to one of the numerous pipes running along the walls. Finally coming to his senses, Buzz answered.
What? Where the hell are we?
Frank answered.
I just woke up and saw you laying here. I have no idea how we got here. What's going on?
Buzz looked down at his own feet and saw he too was chained to the wall. His expensive loafer shoes and business socks were missing from his otherwise intact conservative business suit he wore on an average day as an associate at a Chicago law firm. The world of law hadn't turned out as exciting as he had envisioned as an eager law school student. It wasn't like in the movies where hotshot lawyers handle high-profile murder cases and dispense sound bites to the media. But as much as he loathed the day-to-day drudgery of corporate litigation and paper pushing, he would give anything not to be chained to this filthy bathroom that smelled strongly of feces and faintly of rotting flesh.
How long have we been here, Frank?
I don't know. Like I said, I woke up only a few minutes before you did. The last thing I remember was getting a lap dance and buying overpriced drinks.
I know this is a life and death situation, but I bought those fucking drinks for you, Frank, and the lap dance. Don't act like you bought anything.
Yeah, whatever, that's not important right now. We really gotta get out of here. There has to be some sort of explanation for this.
Two McAllisters looked around the room and both saw it at the same time. As their eyes finally adjusted to the flickering light, they saw the silver, squared object sitting in the middle of the room, just out of reach. An old Talkboy cassette recorder.
Oh, Jesus, I know who did this to us. Check your pockets.
Are you talking about?
Check your fucking pockets, Frank!
They patted themselves down, hands traveling all over their bodies and into the dark caves of their pockets. Both returned with envelopes containing a cassette tape.
Okay, now give me your belt so I can get the talk boy.
Oh, God, John Belt.
We don't have the fucking time for this, Frank. Give me your belt
You're
and your
bigger.
motorcycle.
No, you're bigger around than I am. Your belt is longer. It'll reach further.
You call
Buzz
me
took his
fucking
belt
fat?
off
I did!
and flung it desperately at Talkboy, eventually landing the buckle inside the handle and dragging it to him. After fumbling with it for a second, he popped it open, frantically put his cassette inside and pressed play. There was a slight hiss of an old cassette as it queued up, and he thought he could hear someone take a slow, measured breath. Then, a very deep, slowed down voice spoke from the small speaker.
Hello, Buzz. Would you like to play a little game?
Buzz's eyes met Frank's and they stared at each other, each in horror, as the voice continued.
You've spent so much of your life putting other people down to get ahead, constantly causing trouble and blaming others to get out of it. Even in your professional life, you lie and lie and lie just so you can race home with your expensive watch and second-rate shoes and eat yourself to death. Even when your little brother gets a cheese pizza for himself because he hates every other topping, you would consume the entire pizza yourself just to spite him. Your selfishness knows no bounds. Well, Buzz, I have a bit of a surprise for you. Since you never had enough balls to take any responsibility for your actions or restraint to keep from eating even one cheese pizza, I brought you an entire stack of them. Lovely cheese pizzas, just for you.
As the tape played, a heavy steel door on one of the walls opened up and Buzz thought he could see a silhouette of a person as a giant stack of pizzas were slid from the darkness beyond and into the light before the door slammed shut again, nearly as quickly as it opened. Then the tape finished.
Sorry if they aren't very fresh. They've been sitting out for a couple weeks. So eat up, Flimwad, and hurry, because if you don't finish all of them in 24 hours, I'm going to feed you to my tarantulas.
As soon as that sentence ended, the recording stopped. Buzz and Frank McAllister stood there staring at each other with complete understanding of their situation in that dirty, empty bathroom. The only sound to be heard was the slight humming and flickering of a fluorescent bulb. Kevin had them both by the balls and there was no way out.
We're dying here, Buzz.
No, we're not. We'll figure something out. We just have to think positive, even
You'll
though we're
be-
definitely gonna die.
No, you be positive. I'll be realistic.
Buzz tossed the Talkboy over to Frank to listen to his own tape. As Frank shoved down tape in and started listening, Buzz only heard fragments of his brother's slowed down voice over the sound of his own mind racing to figure out a way to save himself and his uncle.
You little jerk. Cheapskate. Fuller. Agonizing pain. Never grow up feeling like a real man.
He didn't need to hear the whole thing to know what it said. And as his uncle sat in the corner and began to weep for his dead son and for their own predicament, Buzz dragged himself over to the stack of pizzas and began to eat. Part 3. The Wet Bandits.
What
The
can
man-
he do? This kids are helpless.
The man dressed in a freshly pressed tan uniform with perfectly molded hair turned around and yelled at the two men wearing orange jumpsuits, walking behind him down the dimly illuminated cinderblock hallway. Hurry up, you two. We don't have all day. The shorter, balder of the older two shot daggers from his eyes at the guard for an instant, and then responded with this high-pitched Brooklyn Italian accent.
Oh, really? Because last time I checked, we had all the fucking time in the world.
Guard shook his head in disgust. This is the FBI, Harry, not some moron cop. Have some respect for her when you're in there, alright? The taller one, with gray and curly hair, piped in.
Her? All right, Harry, you hear that? It's a woman.
He rubbed his shackled hands together with a hunger only a man who hadn't felt the touch of a woman in years, if ever, could have.
Time to work some of that Marv magic.
Harry looked to Marv with his usual expression of disgust and contempt.
Can't believe I have to say this. You don't have any fucking magic, Marv. You got a Jew throat. Don't fucking kid yourself.
Well, you shut up. We're here. The electronic lock on the heavy steel door clicked open, controlled by some faceless being watching through the lens of a camera. Harry and Marv walked into the interrogation room, where a woman sat at the featureless table under the single hanging light bulb. They sat down at the two chairs opposite the woman and looked at the guard, stood in the corner as another. The guard stood in the corner next to another as the door shut behind them. Marley looked them both in the eyes for a few seconds before dropping file onto the table.
Harry Lime, Marv Merchants. It's nice to meet you. I'm Special Agent Aaron Marley with the FBI, and I need to ask you a few questions about Kevin McAllister.
As the words left her mouth, both men turned to look each other in horror before Harry turned back to her and spoke.
Fucking A, lady. You really know how to make a guy's Christmas. That little shit's the reason we're in here in the first place. Well, that and Marv here can't figure out it ain't a good idea to leave the fucking water running in every joint we rob.
Marv smiled and nodded slyly.
It was our calling card.
Shut up, Marv.
Aaron sighed. This is going to take longer than she thought.
Okay, so where did you last see Kevin? Is there anything you can tell me about him? We've been tracking him down, and I know you two are the only ones who have encountered his traps and survived. You're the only ones who can give me some first-hand insight to how he works.
Harry looked at Aaron intently for a few seconds, studying her before raising his right hand from the table, staring at his palm, completely losing himself in thought until he finally turned it to face her. Over the entire palm of his hand, there was a large capital M branded into it.
You see this here?
Yes. Did that happen? Did Kevin do that?
It doesn't matter how it happens. All that matters is that every year around Christmas for the past fucking 20 years, it fucking stings. I can feel it just like the day it happened, and every time I look at it, I'm reminded of the fact that that guy is still out there, and we're fucking stuck in this shithole. Now, that might seem bad on the surface, but at least in here, we're safe. He can't knock my teeth out in here, and I don't have to worry about any burning fucking doorknob.
Marv got a look of excitement on his face, as if he just got a rush of adrenaline, then chimed in.
And I still have all the staple marks on my dick. Want to see?
Harry sighed and looked at Marv with a mixture of disgust and pity before turning back to Aaron.
You'll have to excuse my friends here. Your little pal hit him one too many times on the head with bricks, paint cans, bags of concrete, you name it. You don't have any fucking idea what you're dealing with. Yeah, you don't know what that kid is capable of.
Yes, I do.
Aaron slid the file in front of them and opened it. The two men looked over the photos and documents and relived the horrors that befell them years earlier, feeling old wounds open up again. Nails, blowtorches, ice, and BB guns. They described them all to Marley in detail.
What you need to understand is that there's no stopping this kid. We were two grown men and he outsmarted us as a fucking 8-year-old. And now he's done this to his own family? You say your hair's red now? Just wait till he lights up with a fucking blow fucking torch. He's grown up and clearly has a taste for the theatrical. Always has. There's no way you're gonna go after him and live.
Marv added again.
Yeah, Santa Claus doesn't visit funeral homes, lady.
The guard stepped out from the center and corner, informing them their time was up. As he handcuffed them and dragged them away, Marley tried to get more information.
Wait, finished here.
Sorry, ma'am. It's all the time they get.
Hold on, Harry.
All I know is he's got a weird thing for fucking Christmas trees. It's weird.
What do you mean?
This is his time. This is when he's at his worst. He'll never stop. If he's already done this to all this to his family, there's no telling what he'll do to you. Don't go to the Christmas trees. Let that little fuck go while you still can. Because if I ever get out of here, I'm going to beat his fucking skull in with a crowbar till there's nothing left. And I'm going to snap off his cojones and boil them in motor oil.
Before the door shut behind them, Marv smiled at Aaron and called out.
And if you ever want to talk, conjugal visits are welcome here. They don't call us the wet bandits for nothing.
As the door slammed shut, Marley stood there and broke the silence to another guard.
That is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard.
The guard nodded. Yeah, Marv was not exactly right in the head.
Thanks for the warning.
Whether she was talking to the guard or thinking about what Harry had told her, it didn't matter. Aaron sighed, gathered her things, and left. The old church towered above her. The nativity scene in front, similar to the one that had been near her grandfather's house when she was a child. Even though it was just down the street from her apartment, Erin had never actually been inside this church. In fact, she hadn't been in any church in almost 15 years. She couldn't really pinpoint what had moved her there now. As she and the FBI learned more about Kevin, she felt a mounting pressure to talk to anyone, about her own indirect relationship to him. As she approached the door, she could almost hear the silence that permeated the sanctuary. Walls lined with poinsettias, candles, statues depicting various saints and angels. She made her way to the side aisle, opened the door to the confessional, and knelt. A few seconds later, she heard the door on the other side open, and the priest enter. The small window separating the two sides slid open. Through the dim light, she could barely see the silhouette of a priest as he sat down.
I have sinned. It's been 15 years since my last confession. And actually, I don't know why I'm here. I really don't have anything in mind I want to confess. I just need to talk to someone.
The priest spoke, and Aaron was slightly surprised with how young he sounded.
That's fine. God doesn't need you to have anything to confess. If you simply want to talk, he is always there to listen.
Thank you. I don't really know if I believe anymore, but it's just that, well, I work for the FBI, so I see some pretty things throughout the day, and it's making me insensitive to the daily troubles of those around me. I hear my friends talk about drama at work and relationship problems, and it all seems so trivial. I just want to tell them to shut up and describe what I go through on a daily basis. This case I'm working on, for instance, it just hits so close to home, and I don't even know what to think about it anymore.
Confusion is a common thing for people. There's no need to feel guilty or overwhelmed by it, as long as you do your best to keep things in perspective. What seems to make your present situation any different than before?
I don't really. Dad had some falling out, so I never really saw him much during my early childhood. But there were these rumors that kids would spread about him, and that he was some kind of murderer, and that he would always kill people with snow shovels during the winter. And I don't know, when he was all really doing was trying to help out with the saltings of the sidewalks so that nobody would slip and get hurt. It was the worst at school. Kids would mock me and laugh at me and tell me that he was going to kill me next. It's horrible how cruel kids can be sometimes without even knowing it. But once, when I was 9, on Christmas Eve, he called and made amends with my father, and I finally got to know him. I asked him once why he decided to get in touch again after all those years, and he told me that he had talked to the little boy who lived next door to him, and that his discussion with the boy is what inspired him to make things right with my dad. I got to know him over the next few years. We became close. He was such a sweet man, and I learned so much from him. I'm glad to have had those years with him before he passed. He said that people can be too old for a lot of things, and that you're never too old to be afraid. And that boy taught him to take a chance, not make a chance. Sorry, I'm just A lot is going on in my head. And regardless of all that self-doubt, and well, as it turns out, the boy who was responsible for bringing my family closer together is now the subject of a case where he has torn his family completely apart. And in some cases, literally, I still have dreams sometimes where the kids at school are laughing at me, and I just can't help but think that I got into this line of work for the sole purpose of trying to do something right to stop the real bad guys, just so the kids will stop laughing.
The priest, who had been patiently listening, responded.
Well, conflicting emotions can make things harder to deal with sometimes, but it is important to try and see things from a broader perspective. Maybe this boy helped your family in the past, but he seems to have caused a great deal of pain for many others since then. One doesn't necessarily cancel out the other, though. The lesson he taught your family isn't erased just because of his own sins.
I never really thought of it like that. I guess I can still appreciate what he did for my family, but keep in mind that he needs to be brought for justice for doing what he has done to his own. Thank you, Father. I haven't been to church in years. I was just feeling confused and I guess lacking confidence about all of this.
Well, this is the place if you're ever feeling bad about yourself. Unfortunately, there is no easy answer for these things. Faith alone is the only thing that can guide you in this matter. Go now in peace, to love and serve the Lord.
Thank you again, Father, and Merry Christmas.
Aaron stood up, exited the confessional, and walked up the aisle. A group of children in choir robes had arrived to practice for the annual Christmas program, only a few days away, and she remembered back to when she was young and her grandfather visited the old church while she sang in a similar choir. From the evidence the FBI had gathered in her discussion with Harry and Marv, she knew that they were close. So she pulled her coat around her and stepped out into the cold, snowy night with a renewed sense of determination, ready to face Kevin McAllister. Part 4. The South Bend Shovel Slayer. Aaron walked up the crumbling steps of the condemned Chicago brownstone and stood at the door, preparing herself for what was to come. After all the investigating, studying the locations of the murders, the clues, the witnesses, she still had a hard time believing that Kevin McAllister was committing this reign of terror from right in the middle of the city, from the dark rooms beyond the heavy steel door in front of her. In hindsight, it seemed obvious. Who would randomly install a door like this on an abandoned building? But from the street where people regularly kept their heads down to avoid eye contact with local transients, it blended in perfectly. Of course, she had already called backup. They were undoubtedly formulating a plan of attack right now, but Aaron knew that if Kevin sensed any sign of a large-scale break-in, it would simply mean more bodies. Protecting himself is what he was best at. So she stood there alone, the icy Christmas Eve wind causing multicolored decorative lights to dance over the falling snow. He glanced up at the top corner of the door and noticed a small security camera. He already knew she was there, so there was no use trying to surprise him. She tried the front door, locked of course. Then she went around to the side of the building and tried one of the windows. It was unlocked, a fact she noted that couldn't have been an accident. Pulling herself up, she entered the dark and dusty room beyond. She stood up and immediately drew her gun as her eyes adjusted to the dark. Everything seemed too normal. Loose floorboards, abandoned furniture draped in dusty white sheets dotted the room like ghostly islands. After reading all the official reports, she knew what to look for. She wasn't about to let herself make a stupid mistake and end up with a paint can shattering her orbital socket. As she made her way to the kitchen, she saw a doorway leading down to a basement. Even from where she stood, she could see a green light flashing on and off from somewhere down below. There was no doubt in her mind now. Kevin was waiting for her down there.
Kevin?
She called out.
Kevin, I know you're down there. This is Special Agent Aaron Marley. I'm with the FBI. There is no use trying to run anymore. I know everything about you. So if you just step out into the open with your hands on your head, we can make this easy for everyone.
Aaron slowly made her way down the creaking stairs, keeping an eye out for nails, either loose or purposely placed on the way down. Her hands started to sweat around the grip of her gun, and she could hear her heart pounding in her head. The strobe effect of the warning light made it impossible to focus on anything. When she got to the bottom of the stairs, the light went off. She stood in complete darkness and silence for a few seconds. In that moment, she could hear what sounded like muffled screams coming from somewhere across the room.
Kevin? Kevin, are you?
Before she could finish, a speaker somewhere in the room began blasting "Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree" by Brenda Lee. At the same time, a series of multicolored spotlights flashed on and illuminated various mannequins scattered around the room. Some mounted on spinning turntables, others various ropes and cables articulating their limbs. Erin made her way through the ceramic bodies. An entire family Kevin had created replaced his own. A family that would always be there and never leave him. She stepped over the power cords in a model train set that was being used to cart around an old cardboard cutout of Michael Jordan around the room. She made her way through a heavy door where she thought she heard screaming moments earlier.
Can you hear me? This is the FBI. Don't worry, I'm gonna get you out of here.
She grabbed the handle and pulled as hard as she could. Nothing. She tried to pull again, but just as she did, a body flew at her from behind her and grabbed onto her, knocking her off balance,
shit.
causing her to drop her gun.
You'll never fucking get them out alive.
The voice roared behind her as the man flung her arms around her neck in an attempt to choke her. Erin quickly regained her composure. With all her strength, flung herself back towards the wall. There was a crash as the man hit one of the mannequins, slammed against the wall, but he didn't let go. She knew it was only a matter of a few more seconds before she lost conscience. Her eyes frantically searching around the room as she spun around with the increasingly heavy weight on the wreck. She noticed among the dancing mannequins and flashing lights a jar seemingly containing a human brain and some sort of liquid. An old sled. Then she finally saw what she needed. Leaning against the wall was a large metal shovel. Beginning to lose her strength, she knew it was her only option. She reached as far as she could and grabbed the handle. She dropped herself to the ground, surprising the man, holding onto her just long enough for him to lose his grip. She spun around and finally faced Kevin, the man who had occupied her life for the past 3 months. In her mind, she thought the moment would be different. She thought there would be time to absorb everything about him with one look, to understand him, to say the perfect thing with perfect timing, to let him know that it was over. But now, in the actual moment, there was nothing. Only the desperate will to survive and end this once for all. In that moment, Erin raised the shovel above her head and blindly slammed it down with every ounce of strength she had left onto Kevin's face. He screamed, barely audible over the music, and the blood flew out from where his nose used to be. She swung upwards again, but by the time she brought the shovel down again, Kevin had scrambled out of the way, holding his face. She dropped the shovel, ran over to where she had dropped her gun, and ran back to the clearly injured man. Grabbing his shoulder, she flipped him upwards to face her and pinned him to the ground while she aimed the barrel of a gun at the mess of blood, skin, and hair.
Got you, son of a bitch.
Spitting out teeth as he tried to respond, he began laughing. In a thick Chicago accent, he responded,
I'm not him. You've got the wrong guy.
At that moment, there was a crash upstairs and a large rumble of heavy boots on wood making their way towards the stairs. The mannequins froze in place, and the music stopped.
You skipped the line there, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
You're about 2 lines up. Her blood
My blood ran cold.
up here.
Whoa.
And scene.
Her blood
And
running
see-
cold, Erin shoved the gun in his face.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm not Kevin. He made me do it. He said he killed my grandma if I didn't.
Grandma?
He's got a grandma still. Brag about it.
Grandma?
At that moment, there was a crash upstairs and a loud rumble of heavy boots on wood, making their way towards the stairs like logs. The mannequins froze in place. I don't know how to pause this. I'm sorry. No idea. Like that.
Looks great. Amazing.
The music stopped and the fluorescent lights in the basement flickered back on. Backup had arrived. Realizing it was over, Aaron stood up off the mutilated man with all sense of accomplishment and pride drained from her, calmly asked,
Then who are you?
I'm Murphy, Mitch Murphy. I was his neighbor as a kid. He told me he'd go straight to Florida and cut her throat if I didn't guard his work. I swear to God, I didn't touch them. I didn't know anything.
Aaron didn't even notice when the agents and police stormed down the stairs to apprehend Murphy. She didn't notice when they opened the chamber to the horrific scene where Buzz and Frank were held. She didn't hear the debriefing or congratulations given to her by Jack Douglas, or see 3 mutilated men taken away in an ambulance. She didn't notice when she wandered out through the crowd of forensics and cleanup crews, back outside into the cold. The only thing she could think about was that she had lost. Kevin had gotten away and humiliated her. And that no matter how big of a part she played in finding Frank and Buzz before it was too late, or how the search for Kevin McAllister would continue, she was still walking home, alone. Part 5. Oh Holy Night. The night was silent, still. Snow draped the ground evenly, creating soft waves of ice over the empty Chicago streets. But despite freezing temperatures, Erin kept her window open. Sitting near it with a glass of wine in her hand, she could hear the choir of the church down the street, singing the familiar words she sang on Christmas Eve as a child. Now, past midnight on Christmas morning, she knew that she wouldn't be able to sleep after the events earlier in the evening. There were no two ways about it. Kevin had gotten the best of her. So she sat at her window, looking out, wondering where he was right now. Suddenly her phone rang. Nobody would be calling it this late at night unless it was something important. Maybe Jack and the others had found something at the crime scene. Sighing, she got up and set her glass down and answered it.
Hello?
There was a long pause before the person on the other line answered it.
Can you still hear them, Aaron?
Erin's blood ran cold. She knew who it was.
Where are you, Kevin?
Where I am is not important right now. What's important is if you can still hear them.
Hear who?
The children, Aaron. The children. Laughing at you. Mocking you.
The events of the past few days immediately flashed before her. The initial crime scene with Fuller McAllister, meeting Harry and Marv, and the confessional at church.
Oh, God. It was you. You were the priest.
Standing there in her kitchen, she began to feel dizzy. Her legs felt weak. But she forced herself to run to the window and look over at the church where she had inadvertently sat mere inches away from Kevin.
Don't bother going to the church now. I'm long gone. I've gone on my own little vacation. Alone. But I hope to meet a couple of old friends of mine when I'm there.
Thinking quickly, Erin ran over to her door and picked up the newspaper that had been sitting there all day. Frantically, she tore open the front page. To her horror, staring back at her, the mugshots of Harry and Marv, along with the giant, bold headline, "Wet Bandits Escape Again." She threw the paper to the ground and tried to respond as calmly as possible, but her voice came out shaky and small.
My grandfather told me once that you were the reason he decided to reach out and make amends with my father. What happened to that boy?
The same thing that happened to you, Aaron. But it manifested itself into an ugly way in me. And you should know that no matter what happens, it will never end. You will always hear those little angels laughing at you, Aaron. We're the same. You and I. Inseparable. Like 2 turtle doves. Oh, And you might want to invest in a tree next year. You can't celebrate Christmas without a Christmas tree. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a plane to catch.
Even after hearing the click of Kevin hanging up on her, Erin stood there for a few seconds, holding the phone to her ear, watching the snow continue to fall outside. Finally losing all of her strength, she collapsed on her knees and prayed he hadn't really gone.
Kevin? Hello? Kevin? Kevin? Answer me, Kevin.
Night divine, oh night, Christ was born.
Oh, night. Oh,
Oh, holy night,
oh,
night
night
divine.
divine.
Well, I think that was a fantastic success.
That was pretty good.
I didn't hear as much ooh as I was expecting.
I know. I was going to go into Uncle Frank as Uwu, but I already made the commitment to give him a strong Boston accent, so it was too late. It was too late.
Uncle Frank, the Boston accent from the guy from the Chicago.
Yes, yes. Here, I'll give you a little taste of Uwu. Hold on, let me go back up to Uncle Frank.
Lulu? Oh no, like I said, I only woke up only a few minutes before you did. The last thing I remember was getting a lap dance and buying overpriced drinks.
There, that could have been Uncle Frank.
Uncle Frank, they cut your vocal cords.
I don't
What
know what
happened to
happened.
you?
I don't know. It just happened. Oh, I can't stop. Oh no. I'm gonna go watch anime for 15 hours straight. And then I'm gonna go buy a wig. That's purple.
That was fantastic.
That was really good.
Oh, I didn't press these buttons. I'm going to press them all
What?
at once.
Press the button.
These shout outs.
Push the button, Gronk.
Press the button.
Mad Mittens, thank you. We
Thank
had
you.
Noble Lance doing a wonderful voice. Thank you. Hazers the Reaper. Awesome work. Thank you. And BreadMustache, thank you so much for writing it.
Yes.
It was fantastic.
That was a
I'm
fucking
gonna pop
blast.
on over here.
Yes, we can. I'll look at you on my stream. Hello.
Hello, Mittens Mafia. It was a
Yes, we out
pleasure.
here. Absolutely. But if you haven't dropped a follow to the people that I read with tonight, what are you doing? Go do that. Please.
What are
Yeah.
you doing, Kevin?
Tis the
What are you
season.
doing, Kevin? 'Tis
Remember-
the season.
Good deeds count double at Christmas.
That they do. That they do.
I would like to give a special pointed shout out. I believe BreadMustache is streaming right now.
He is.
Let me load him up. Is he playing Hitman?
Yep.
Fantastic.
That went
Ooh,
so well.
that was.
That was so good.
So thank you guys. I think
Thank you.
Maddie, you're gonna be popping off to some Detroit. Become
Yes,
human.
I am. I'm gonna try.
Noble, were you continuing on to anything?
Nah.
I bid you good night and adieu. Tasers, you didn't stream, but I thank you for being here. So
I'm just gonna go make sure my VR buddies don't drink too much. That's the fun I'm going to.
love it. Good luck.
No.
And everyone,
get them to
Merry
commit to
Christmas.
drinking, get them to commit to drinking, and then pretend it's pretend they're gonna be stuck in the VR world.
Ooh.
No, I already had that happen once. Someone thought his eyes were onions at one
Oh,
point.
no.
It was a whole thing.
What?
Look, I don't play with smart people.
Oh my.
Oh God.
Look, there are things that I have learned about people that I will never forget, and it makes me regret being the designated sober person. And we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right. Respect that.
I, as the designated sober person in college, mood.
Mood. All right, all. Well, thank you so much for having me as a part of this and letting me stream it. This was super duper fun.
And thank you for not throwing me out when I found something to use as a zipper.
That was so good. No, I loved it. The improv was fantastic.
I fucking wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't either.
I couldn't.
Oh my
resist, Like,
goodness.
this seems too good for this.
So good. Alrighty, friends. It was fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to end the call.
As am I.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Adi.
Bye.